Hi, my name is Akira. You're watching Akira Meditates. Now, today let's begin by focusing on our awareness. So look at your awareness. Look at your ability to look, to perceive. You perceive the senses. You perceive the mind. And you perceive the emotion. And you perceive the feeling. And you perceive just the space. All of these things you perceive. So let us be aware of the perceiving. The perceiving is what you fundamentally are. The perceiving is yourself. What you perceive foremost is space. What you perceive foremost is space. And then within space, you perceive the feeling, the emotion, the mind, and the five senses. All of those are perceived within space, and space is the most subtle perception. So, to be aware of our own awareness, let us be aware of space first. Be aware of the space that all of your perceptions are arriving in. The space is the most subtle and most fundamental thing that we are aware of. The space that perceptions appear in is the most subtle of all perceived things. And it is the most fundamental. Because without space, nothing else can be perceived. Everything that is perceived within space. Now let us be aware of the perceiver. Look right now at your present looking. Do you see that it is your looking that is alive? The thing which grants life to everything is perception, is perceiving. It is the actual soul. It is the actual life. It is the true life force. And it is not an energy. It is pure perception. It is not a force either. Because a force is perceived. It is the purest force, the purest life. It is perception itself. Perception itself is not perceived. It can only reflect back on itself. Perception can only reflect back on itself by looking at something else. So what we must see as the perfect mirror to reflect back our own awareness to itself is space. When we just perceive neutral space, our own awareness is reflected back on itself. It gains recognition of itself. So this is self-knowing. So simple. This is enlightenment. Yes, it is. This is actual enlightenment. It is the discovery of your true self as pure awareness. It is the discovery that all of space is within you as awareness. All of space is within you as awareness. Not you as a person. That is only you identifying with your expression. What you are is not an expression. What you fundamentally are is pure perception. The mind speaks on your behalf. But what you really are is awareness itself. So, right now I want you to look at your own looking. Can you see it? Of course you can. You are seeing. You are seeing. To truly be aware of your own seeing, you must just see space. Just look at the space around us. Look at the space that these words are arriving in. Look at the space that your perception is happening in. Your perception is happening in space. All of your perceptions happen in space, and space itself is perceived also. By pure perception. Perception itself is what you are. What the ego is your belief and fixation, addiction, to the idea that you are your mind. That is what false self is. It is the self-image that is built up of yourself as the mind. It will resist looking at space. It will resist you looking at space. It will not allow you to look at space. So you must disobey the mind. You must simply look at space without any mental reasoning to do so. Because the mind will not allow you to look at space. You must do it from your heart. Look at space. Why does the mind not allow you? Because the mind, the mental self-image, is mistrust. It is, in fact, mistrust itself. Why is the mind mistrust itself? Because as soon as you take on the identity of a mind being, you take on something to defend. Because the mind identity is always under threat. The mind identity is based in a changing world. So everything that naturally changes threatens the mind identity, because the mind identity seeks stability. Why does it seek stability? Because the one that identifies as the mind is itself stable. The one that identifies as the mind is in fact stable. That is why the soul seeks stability in the mind, because the soul is stable. It knows stability. When it identifies as the mind, when it takes itself to be a self-image belonging to the mind, then the stability that it seeks for its self-image becomes threatened by the changing nature of the world. So naturally the mind is full of mistrust. So you must let go of the ego. Let the inner voice which speaks on your behalf from fear vanish. It vanishes when you give attention to something higher than it. Give your attention to space itself. Just do it. Just make the jump. That's the only way through. You have to jump past the hurdle of the mind. Into the heart. And then, when you are able to look at space, you will gain a perfect mirror to reflect back your own awareness to yourself. And you will actually know yourself as immortal. You will actually know yourself. Thank you so much. You've been watching Akira Meditates. My name is Akira. Stay tuned.